Hey there, Science and Cooking. Greg here, and I just wanted to give you a little puzzle. So let's say I give you a cup of acid. Now, don't worry about why I'm giving you this acid, and don't go around telling people I gave you some acid. But you have 7 milliliters of it, and what I want to pose to you is the question, how many H pluses are in there? How many? And so it's an acid, and you know that the pH of it's going to be low, and you also know you can test the pH with a pH strip. So let's say you do that, and you find that the pH is equal to 2. Okay, now we want to figure out how many H pluses are in there, and so if we figure out the concentration of H pluses, then we can multiply that by the volume and find out the number of H pluses. And we know what the concentration is, sort of, because we know what the pH is. And there's an equation that relates pH and concentration. You remember what it is? It is pH equal to minus log of the concentration of H+. And just to remind you, the units of H+ here are in moles per liter. And to remind you of what a mole is, 1 mole is just a big number. It's equal to 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd. Okay, so we know what the left-hand side of this equation is, it's 2, but we want to figure out what the concentration of H pluses are, this H plus in brackets here. And so what we can do is we can multiply both sides by minus 1. So you put a minus 1 here, and that minus 1 times this minus will be a plus here. And so then we have minus 2 equals log of H plus. Concentration, that is. And then we can use this fact about logs, where if you ever have 10 to the log of some number, call it x, equal to x. Because 10 to something and log of something are like doing the opposite thing, so they sort of undo each other, and you just get the argument here, x. And so what we can do is we can just take the left and right hand side of this equation here and take 10 to each side. So what I mean is we can say 10 to the minus 2 is equal to 10 of what's equal to minus 2, which is log of H plus. And what that does is allow us to write the right-hand side as just the H plus concentration. So that means H plus concentration is equal to 10 to the minus 2 moles per liter. But I was talking in terms of milliliters. I gave you 7 milliliters. So you probably want this in milliliters. So we need to convert it. And whenever you're converting something, all you're doing is multiplying by some form of 1. Because you can always multiply something by 1 and get the same thing, but you can just write it in a different unit. So what I mean is that we know that 1 liter is equal to 1,000 milliliters. So we can write 1,000 milliliters over 1 liter thing, so that's equal to 1, and so we can multiply this thing just by 1 of the form 1, or let's do the, you can also do the opposite of this, because 1 over 1 is equal to 1, so we also know that 1 liter over 1,000 milliliters is equal to 1, and so let's multiply it by this one so that we can get the liters to drop out. You'll see what I mean. So let's multiply it by 1 liter over 1,000 milliliters, and then the liters here drop out like that. So then we end up getting 10 to the minus 2 over 1,000 moles per milliliter, or 10 to the minus 5 moles per milliliter. Okay, now we want things in terms of number of H plus ions, but we have it right now in terms of moles of H pluses. So to get the number of H plus ions, we do the same trick of multiplying by 1, but this time let's use the 1, which is equal to 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd H pluses. 1 mole. Those two things are equal. And that's 1 mole of H pluses, as is this up here. So we just multiply this times that, and we get 10 to the minus 5 times 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd over, let's see, just over 1. And so what I did is I just took all the numbers I took, multiplied this over 1, and multiplied it by this up here, and then all the units we have are, up here we have moles per milliliter, and then here we have H pluses per mole. We can cancel out the moles, and we just have H pluses per milliliter. So now we know that there's 10 to the minus 5 times 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd H pluses in a milliliter. And we just have 7 milliliters. So if we just multiply this by 7 milliliters, then we'll get the number of H pluses we have. So that's our answer. Number of H pluses is equal to 10 to the minus 5 times 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd times 7. Alright, well, I hope that was helpful. Again, this is Greg. Feel free to email me if you have questions, and have a great day.